Is now Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich, former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich, author of Trump and the American Future, and Fox News contributor. Good to have you with us tonight, Newt. You know, the Secretary of State was just on another program, and he said so far they have not found any systemic irregularities. They said nothing that would rise to the level of even the 10,000 vote range. What's your response to what's going on in your home state?
Well, my response is they got to count the votes. When you, as Senator Kennedy pointed out, something like 70% of the Republicans in this country do not believe this was an honest election. The only way you can heal that is to go back through in all the key states that are in doubt and methodically count the votes and have hand counts. And I think what the Secretary of State in Georgia is doing is exactly right. If at the end they don't find very many votes, then Biden will have carried Georgia. But everybody will then know that it was a fair and an accurate election. At the present time, a vast number of Americans do not believe that and think that, frankly, they're being railroaded.
Well, I think that's a very good reason to continue these counts, to continue these investigations. There's a lot of people who are very impatient about the process here. But I think that it's, because we have this extraordinary situation during this virus with, millions and millions of mail-in votes, it doesn't hurt anybody to continue this process and to certify these over the next couple of weeks. What do you think the president should, obviously you think he should see these through, but how do you see the president going forward? If it doesn't go his way, what role do you think that he should play going forward?
Well, first of all, if it genuinely doesn't go his way, he'll become a former president on the 20th of January, and then he'll have several big options, because my hunch is he will be the most popular person in the Republican Party. And there is one example. Grover Cleveland was elected in 1884, defeated in 1888, and then reelected in 1892. Now, whether or not Trump has the appetite for that, who knows? But he clearly has a big enough base that he would be very formidable. And I think the Democrats are right on the verge of a pretty big civil war between their right and left wings. And so the world may look a lot different a year from now in terms of how people feel about the two parties.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't heard from the president that much in a week, which is an unusual state of affairs because we usually hear from him all the time. But I think because of that, you've got people sort of rushing in to fill the void and talking about, what should happen now in the Republican Party. You've got John Bolton saying, here's the cold political reality. Trump is enhancing his own brand in his mind while harming the Republican brand. The party needs a long internal conversation about the post-Trump era, but first it needs to get there honorably. He got 72 million votes a week ago. And what would you say to John Bolton?
Well, I wouldn't say anything to John Bolton. It's not worth the time. But you made a really good point. Trump has been pretty quiet for 1 week, and in the Rasmussen poll today, he's at, I think, his highest approval level and his lowest disapproval level, I think, for his whole presidency. Now, if he could try the experiment of maybe 2 more weeks, I always tell people, you can't make a comeback unless you leave. People got to get away from you for a little while. And I think the president's been very wise to let the lawyers do their work, let other people do their work, and not be right in the middle of this. Now, there may come a point when he has to drive some things home, and you may see him return to a rally kind of style, if that's what it takes to get in Pennsylvania, for example, to get enough action.
You think he should go to Georgia and
right
campaign?
Now proceeding. Oh, I think certainly once this is all over, he should. I don't think he should until the recount is done. Okay. I think that right now let's focus on the recount. Yeah. But frankly, the choice in Georgia is going to be so enormous between 2 people who would make the Senate radical and 2 people who would make them conservative that I think Trump almost inevitably will be drawn into it.
Newt Gingrich, thank you. Former Speaker. Good to see you tonight, sir. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.